What if the bread you're eating right now is actually worse than what people ate 2,000 years ago? We assume progress means better food, more refined, more convenient, more available on every shelf. But what if refinement was the mistake? Before white flour, before added sugar, before a single processed ingredient existed, there was a bread that fed entire civilizations. It survived famine. It survived siege. It survived war. And it came from the very region, the very era, the Bible places Jesus of Nazareth in. So here's the real question. If people with none of our technology were eating something loaded with plant-based omega-3s, fiber, and protein, what does that say about what's on your plate today? I'm not telling you what it is. Not yet. First, you need to know where it came from and why we let it disappear. Stay with me. Let's go back there together, not as someone hearing a story, but as someone standing inside it. You wake up before the sun. Not because of an alarm, there won't be one of those for a few thousand years yet. You wake up because your body still remembers when to rise, the way everybody did before clocks existed. The floor under your feet is packed dirt, cool and smooth. The walls around you are stone. And somewhere near the door there's a shape you know, without even opening your eyes all the way. A clay oven, built low against the wall, still faintly warm from yesterday. This is Israel, the ancient one, not the one from the news. Rolling hills, small stone villages, dirt roads connecting one town to the next. And in every single one of those villages, in every single home, there's an oven exactly like this one. Before you even think about eating, you're already kneeling beside it, working the dough for the day. Because here, bread isn't something you grab off a shelf on your way out the door. Bread is the reason you'll still be standing tomorrow. If you have bread, you live another day. If you don't, you're in real trouble. That's why, when people here pray, they don't ask for luxury. Give us this day our daily bread. That wasn't poetry to them. That was survival, spoken out loud. Now, look at what's actually in the bowl in front of you. No white flour, no packet of yeast from a shelf, no sugar, nothing wrapped in plastic, nothing with a barcode. Just what the land gave: barley, wheat when you could afford it, and seeds. All kinds of seeds. Reach in. Small, shiny, brown seeds slide between your fingers. You've seen this plant before growing wild across these hills, cultivated in fields down in the Jordan Valley. It's not a new crop either. Flax is one of the oldest plants humans ever learned to cultivate, grown across this stretch of the world since the earliest days. People here figured out how to farm instead of only forage. The Egyptians use it too, not just for eating, but for wrapping their dead for burial, believing linen kept a body pure for the next life. The Babylonians trade it. And here, everyone grinds it into their bread, from the poorest farmer to the richest merchant in town. It's flax. You already know part of what this plant does. It's the same plant your finest clothing is made from. Linen comes from this exact seed stem. That part isn't a secret. What you don't have a word for yet is what this seed is doing to your body. There's no laboratory here, no nutrition label. But you know something, the way your mother knew it, and her mother before her. When this seed goes into the bread, you feel stronger, you get sick less. Your joints don't ache the way they do in other households. Your mind stays clear, even into old age. You've watched it happen to the elders around you. Still sharp, still steady. Decades past the point, most people in this world start to fade. So your mother grinds these seeds into your bread when you're small, so you'll grow up strong. Sesame goes into sunflower when it's around. Pumpkin seeds. Sometimes, once the loaf comes out, a little wild honey drizzled across the top. But the flax is always there. It's the foundation everything else sits on. There's an old saying passed around these villages about a woman of real worth, and one of the things said about her is that she works with flax. That's not only about weaving cloth. In most homes, working with flax means this: grinding the seeds for bread, for medicine, for oil. It's stitched into daily life here, in every sense of the word. And flax isn't the only place. Scripture gets specific about bread like this one. Centuries earlier, in a very different moment, one prophet was told, quite plainly, to take wheat and barley, beans and lentils, millet and spelt, and combine all of it in a single vessel to make his bread. It wasn't a health tip. It was a sign of siege and scarcity. When a city runs out of any one grain, you scrape together whatever's left in the storehouse and bake it all as one loaf, because you have no other choice. But the detail is worth noticing anyway. Whoever recorded that understood exactly what you're doing right now, taking a handful of different seeds and grains and turning them into a single, dense, life-sustaining bread. That idea wasn't invented by a health food company. It's sitting in the pages of the Bible itself, thousands of years old. Here's something else worth sitting with for a second. This is the region, this is the era, and this is the kind of bread, plain, ordinary, everyday, that historians agree was common on tables all through Galilee, including, most likely, in a small carpenter's household in a town called Nazareth. It's not that this bread was special. It's the opposite. It was so common, so completely unremarkable, that when a man named Jesus sat down to share a meal with the people he loved, including the last meal he ever shared with them, this is almost certainly close to what was on the table. Not because Scripture hands us a recipe, because this is simply what bread was for everyone in that world. Hold on to that. We're coming back to it. Now, fast forward. Not years, centuries. Watch these hills fill with Roman roads. Watch empires rise on top of this land and fall and rise again. And somewhere in the middle of all that time passing, something quiet happens to your bread. Here's the part most people get backwards. In Rome, white bread wasn't cheap junk food, it was the opposite. Getting wheat flour pale and fine took round after round of sieving, and that kind of labor cost real money. So the whitest, softest bread, the Romans called their finest grade panis candidus, became a status symbol. The wealthy ate it. Archaeologists have pulled carbonized loaves straight out of the ruins of Pompeii, scored across the top just like the one you're about to bake, sitting in bakeries that served the city's elite. Everyone else, the poor, the enslaved, ordinary working families, kept eating the same coarse, dark, whole-grain bread people have been baking since long before Rome existed. For a long time, the bread in your hands right now was simply what bread was. The pale, refined version was the rare exception, not the rule. That balance held for centuries. What finally tipped it wasn't Rome falling. It was a machine, invented almost 2,000 years later. In the 1800s, industrial roller mills arrived, and for the first time in human history, sieving wheat down to pure white flour stopped being slow and expensive. It became fast and cheap enough for everyone, not just emperors and nobles. Within a couple of generations, white bread flipped from a luxury the wealthy displayed to a mass-market product sitting on every shelf. And the coarse, seed-studded, whole-grain bread that used to feed kings and farmers alike got quietly rebranded as the poor man's food, then disappeared from most kitchens altogether. Around that same time, something else was changing, and it mattered just as much. New industrial presses made it cheap, for the first time, to extract oil from seeds like sunflower, corn, and soy at a massive scale. Suddenly those oils were everywhere in packaged food, fried food, salad dressings, snacks, and most of them are loaded with one particular kind of fat, omega-9. Your body needs some omega-6, but it's supposed to arrive in something close to balance with omega-3. Researchers estimate humans evolved eating the two in roughly equal amounts, close to what a seed and grain bread like this one would have naturally given you. The typical diet today runs somewhere between 15 and 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3. That shift happened almost entirely within the last 100 years, and a growing number of nutrition researchers point to it as a quiet driver behind rising rates of inflammation-linked disease. Exactly how much blame the oils themselves deserve is still genuinely debated in the science, but the size of the shift and how recently it happened isn't in question. So, white flour instead of whole grain, sugar instead of honey, cheap seed oil instead of whole seeds. Piece by piece, without anyone deciding it all at once, the bread that built entire civilizations got quietly replaced. Think about the last time you stood in a bread aisle. Did you ever pick up a loaf and flip it over, just to read the label? How many of those words could you actually pronounce? You've probably walked past a bag of flaxseed in the health food aisle without a second glance too. Funny how that works. For decades, nobody said a word about what got left behind, until scientists started studying something called omega-3 fatty acids. You've heard the standard advice by now. Eat more fish. Take a fish oil capsule. Omega-3 is good for your heart, good for your brain, good for your joints. All of that is true. Here's what usually gets left out of that conversation. Gram for gram, flaxseed is one of the richest sources of omega-3 inches, the entire food supply richer than salmon, richer than most fish oil capsules on a pharmacy shelf. It's a different kind though. The plant-based kind, called ALA. Instead of the EPA and DHA, your doctor usually means when they say omega-3. Your body converts some of it for its own use, though not especially efficiently. Roughly 5 to 10% becomes EPA. Less than that becomes DH. But the research is clear on this much. ALA still supports your heart on its own terms, and it still helps calm the kind of quiet, low-grade inflammation that wears the body down over the years. It isn't a one-to-one swap for fish. It's a source of real protection, sitting in a seed instead of swimming in a river. And omega-3 isn't the only thing hiding in that seed. Flax is also one of the richest known sources of plant compounds called lignans. Think of them as a built-in antioxidant defense system, mopping up the everyday cellular damage your body racks up just from being alive. Early research on flax lignans has looked at heart health, blood sugar, and even hormone-sensitive conditions, with some promising early results. The science is still developing, and nobody serious is calling it a cure for anything. But it's one more reason this simple seed keeps showing up in modern nutrition research, thousands of years after your grandmother started grinding it into your bread, for reasons she couldn't have explained in any laboratory. Think of omega-3 like oil for your body's engine. Without enough of it, things start to rust. Joints get stiff. The heart works harder than it should have to. The mind gets foggy. Inflammation builds up quietly in the background, until one day it shows up as pain, or as something a doctor gives a long name to. Omega. 3 fights that slowly and constantly, like a repair crew that never clocks out. And you don't need a boat. You don't need to spend $15 on a piece of wild-caught fish. You don't need to swallow a capsule and spend the rest of your afternoon burping up salmon. You need a bag of seeds, some water, a little salt, an oven, and about 45 minutes. The same short list of things people needed 3,000 years ago. The people baking this bread back then never heard the word omega-3, and they'd certainly never heard of a lignan. They just knew this bread kept them standing through deserts, through sieges, through exile, through every hard thing this world threw at them. Maybe they were onto something we forgot. Go back, for one more moment, to that stone house. Picture the hands doing this work. A mother's hands, maybe. Somewhere in a small home in Nazareth, hands very much like these are doing the same thing right now. Ground flaxseed, a little barley flour, a pinch of salt, water, a handful of sesame seeds, folded in together. There's no recipe card here. No measuring spoons. No timer on a wall. Just memory, the same motion, pressed and folded and pressed again, carried from mother to daughter for longer than anyone could count. Sound familiar? Some version of you does this exact motion most mornings too, except your oven plugs into a wall, and what's waiting for you afterward usually comes wrapped in plastic, not fresh off the coals. The loaf goes in round and heavy, dense with seeds. Within the hour, the whole house smells like something you'd call home, no matter what century you're standing in. It comes out golden, cracked across the top where it rose in the heat, seeds glistening on the crust. Then honey, drizzled slowly across the top, the one small sweetness a simple household could offer. Watch it run into the cracks. This is the bread Jesus would have reached for at a table like that one. Not soft white bread, not something wrapped in plastic with a 2-week shelf life sitting in a warehouse somewhere. A dense, seed-covered loaf, made from what the land gave, made by hand, made with patience. This is the bread of the Bible. The real one. The one almost nobody talks about anymore. And here's the part that should stop you for a second. You can make it. Tonight. In your own kitchen. Before we get to that, it's worth slowing down for one more moment on what's actually sitting in that bowl, because flax isn't carrying this loaf alone. Barley, the grain of ordinary people, turns out to be one of the richest natural sources of a soluble fiber called beta-glucan. Well enough established at this point that both European and American health authorities officially recognize it for lowering cholesterol and smoothing out blood sugar spikes after a meal. The grain dismissed for centuries as what poor people eat is, quietly, one of the more impressive things you can put in a bowl. Sesame seeds bring calcium, genuinely one of the best plant sources of it that exists, especially unhulled, with a small handful covering a real share of what you need in a day, along with compounds called sesamin and sesamol, which researchers have linked to lower cholesterol and reduced joint inflammation. In one clinical study, people with knee arthritis who added sesame seed powder to their routine saw their pain drop by roughly 3 times as much as those relying on standard treatment alone. Pumpkin seeds add magnesium, zinc, and iron, plus a natural compound your body can convert into serotonin, which may be part of why a warm slice of this in the evening tends to feel so quietly calming. Sunflower seeds are one of the best sources of vitamin E in the entire food supply, alongside selenium and a long list of trace minerals modern diets rarely supply enough of. None of these seeds were chosen because someone put them on a superfood list. They were chosen because, for thousands of years, they were simply what was there growing in the hills, cheap, plentiful, and, it turns out, quietly doing far more for the people eating them than anyone at the time could have known. Add it all up, and this one loaf is quietly doing the job of a multivitamin, a fiber supplement, and a bottle of fish oil, using nothing but things that were already sitting in a field 3,000 years ago. This isn't a guess dressed up as history. It's been researched, tested, and rebuilt, using ingredients you can find at any regular grocery store today. Let's do it together. Here's what you'll need. 2 cups ground flaxseed meal. This is your foundation. Almost all of that omega-3, and those lignans live here. Don't skip it, don't shrink it. It's the heart of the whole loaf. A ½ cup whole barley flour or whole wheat flour, if barley isn't sold near you. Try barley first, though. It was the grain of ordinary people, the grain that kept a whole nation fed, and, as it turns out, the one with the beta-glucan. A ¼ cup sesame seeds, small, ancient, full of calcium and healthy fat. They've grown in this exact region for over 3,000 years. A ¼ cup pumpkin seeds for texture, minerals, and a satisfying crunch in the crust. A ¼ cup sunflower seeds, golden, nutty, a little earthy. 2 tablespoons chia seeds, full disclosure. Not part of the original. Chia never grew anywhere near ancient Israel. It's native to Mexico and Central America, and wasn't known outside that region until centuries later. But it brings even more of that same omega-3 power, and it helps bind the dough. Think of it as flax's modern cousin, joining the family recipe. 1 teaspoon sea salt, not table salt. Something that still has its minerals in it. 1½ cups warm water, not hot, not cold. Warm, the way water feels when it's being kind to you. 2 tablespoons olive oil, the real kind. Extra virgin, cold pressed, the kind that smells like actual olives, not a factory. Optional, a drizzle of raw honey for the top after baking. Don't skip it if you can help it. Now, here's what you do. There's no rush here. There never was. Mix everything dry in a big bowl, the flaxseed, the barley flour, all the seeds, the salt. Stir until it's evenly combined, and you can smell the seeds start to wake up. Pour in the warm water and the olive oil. Mix slowly until it forms a thick, sticky dough. Don't panic when it doesn't look like bread dough is supposed to look. It won't. It'll be heavier, darker, denser, almost like a paste at first. You know that moment when you're cooking something from scratch for the first time and it looks nothing like the photo, and some part of you wants to give up right there? This is that moment. Push through it. That's exactly right. That's what you want. Let it rest for 10 minutes. Just step away for a bit. The flaxseed will drink up the water, swell slightly, and everything will bind together on its own, almost like magic. No yeast, no baking powder, nothing from a packet. The flax does all the work. It always has. Shape it into a round or oval loaf with your hands. Don't overthink the shape. It was never supposed to be perfect. Set it on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and press extra seeds into the top sesame, pumpkin, sunflower until the whole surface is covered. Score the top with a knife, 2 or 3 deep cuts. This lets steam escape as it bakes and gives it that rustic, unmistakably handmade look, the look of bread no machine ever touched. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, about 175 degrees Celsius, for 40 to 45 minutes, until the outside turns deep golden brown and feels firm to the touch. Your kitchen is about to smell the way kitchens in Galilee must have smelled on a quiet morning 2,000 years ago. Tap the bottom of the loaf. If it sounds hollow, it's ready. Pull it out. Let it rest on the counter for a few minutes, as long as you can stand to wait. Then drizzle the raw honey over the top. Don't be shy with it. Watch it. Run down the sides, pooling in the cracks, soaking into the seeds. Cut a slice. It's denser, hearty, a little nutty, a little sweet from the honey, a little salty, a little earthy from the barley and the seeds. Every bite is carrying a serious dose of omega-3, more fiber than a typical fast food lunch, and more history than anything else currently on your table. We live in a world constantly chasing the next miracle food, the next supplement, the next pill, the next bottle with a label full of words nobody can actually pronounce. Take a second and picture your own medicine cabinet right now. How many bottles are sitting in there that you bought hoping they'd fix something and then quietly forgot about? Here's a strange fact to sit with. Most people in the developed world get barely half the daily fiber their body actually needs, even while spending more money on health and wellness than any generation before them. Billions of dollars get spent every year chasing health in a bottle. And this whole time, part of the answer was sitting quietly in a tiny seed, growing in these fields, since before anyone was writing history down. Zoom out even further, and this bread quietly lines up with one of the most studied dietary patterns in modern nutrition science. The Mediterranean diet: whole grains, seeds, legumes, olive oil, and very little in the way of refined flour or sugar. Decades of research, going back to studies that first began tracking health outcomes across different countries in the 1950s, keep landing on some version of the same conclusion. Diets built around ingredients like the ones in your bowl right now tend to track with lower rates of heart disease. Nobody baking this bread in ancient Galilee was running a clinical trial. They just kept doing what worked, generation after generation, until it became tradition, and it took modern science thousands of years to catch up and explain why. The people of the Bible didn't have a pharmacy on every corner. No omega-3 capsule. No wellness influencers telling them what to eat next. They had bread. Real bread, made from real ingredients, grown out of soil they believed God Himself had made. And they lived, they worked, they raised families, they endured things most of us will never have to face. Maybe that was never a coincidence. So the next time someone tries to sell you another supplement, smile and bake this bread instead. The bread of the ancients. The bread of Israel. The bread that, in a stone house in Nazareth, was broken by hand and shared at a simple wooden table with the people who mattered most. It's been waiting for you for 3,000 years. Now, it's yours. If something about this landed with you today, if it felt a little more real, a little more alive than it did an hour ago, don't keep that to yourself. Share it with someone at your own table. A friend, a family member, someone who needs reminding that the old ways still have something left to teach us. And if you want to keep walking through the Bible like this, through the kitchens and the fields and the forgotten corners most people walk straight past, subscribe and hit the bell. Every day we pull up a chair and look for what's been hiding in plain sight all along. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, maybe not before the sun, maybe with an alarm after all, that loaf will still be sitting on your counter, filling the kitchen with the same smell. People woke up to 3,000 years ago. That part hasn't changed either. The table is set. Come sit down.